So welcome to the Fibershed meetup. It's great to see everybody. Today's topic will be Lisa talking about our Sustainable Cloth Challenge, a recap of what we've done this year and the year to come. Two other announcements is our next Fibershed meetup is going to be January 22nd, where we'll be doing regen agriculture with Lauren Lovejoy. So I hope you'll all listen in on that. She's got some great ideas about what we all can be doing in our gardens and on our properties to help the soil be more regenerative. And then also we have a request from Micah they have a materials library, and they're going to be looking, we'll put it in the newsletter, but they're going to be looking for materials from various producers or samplings of local yarn to put in their library so that students can see what things feel like and touch them, but as they decide what it is they want to use in their projects. So look forward to getting that. And that's it for the announcements. And let's get on with the program.
Why would you try that? Yeah, so and if everybody can mute themselves, that would be awesome. So today, like Marian said, I'm going to show you a slideshow of kind of recapping our first year of the Sustainable Cloth. I was reflecting on like my journey to this. Like 3 years ago, I started reading the book, and I was like, that would be so cool to do what Rebecca did and to have a wardrobe that was, a 100-mile wardrobe. And so I started making a list of what I already had and what I would need. And of course, the biggest thing that, shot out into my world was, it's going to be much harder to get anything that you can wear in the summertime. But anyway, I thought I have a long way to go before I get there, so I might as well try. In the next few months, I found out that we had a Fibershed here that I could work with. And we found, being like-minded individuals with our working committee, we put the idea that doing some kind of sustainable cloth challenge, garment challenge, was something that we really wanted to do in last year, I think, basically. And within a couple of weeks, there came an opportunity for us to apply for a Fibershed grant. And this seemed like, this one was, something that we could do. We could pull it together pretty quickly. And I think we wrote that grant, I want to say, in less than a week. Do you recall that, Marian? Do you think
it was more like a couple of days? It was fast.
It was amazing. And Alex was sort of the head of that whole effort. And we got the money, which was great. And so, we launched it last September, and many of you were part of that original launch and the original year. So, we're thankful that we got that grant so that we could do things that were a little out of our area. We could, fund some of the things that needed to be funded. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I made a slideshow because nobody wants to hear me talk for a long time. And no, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Done. It's right next to it, slideshow. So that was our time together. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So our next sustainable challenge is going to start now. You can start at any time, and we'll finish October 2023. We're going to continue to have the 3 streams of embrace, borrow, and re-envision, which I'll talk a bit about since there are some new people here that may not be familiar with those. The meetups will begin in January. And we're hoping to have 3 to 4 in-person meetups, including some community, maybe some community dining like we did, definitely having a celebration again, and maybe some other kinds of farm visits. We're not quite sure yet. So you can gather your friends, you can make a team. We already have a couple of teams that are signing up. And I put the sign up for on in the chat for the website link.
And so far we have 9 people signed up.
The first stream is borrowing, and basically that is everything is acquired locally within the Fibershed. So all the fabrics have to be farmed and processed in the Fibershed. Of course, they all have to be natural. If they're dyed, then you need to use natural dyes. If you have patterns that are from local designers, that's great. And of course, there are some exemptions just because, you know, notions, threads, zippers, things like that, that we just don't make here. The next is borrowing, and that's acknowledging that we do have some holes in infrastructure. So we're asking that the primary fabric component, 50% or more, is farmed or processed within the Fibershed, and that we may have to cross some boundaries. There may be, you may want to use dyes that are natural dyes, but they don't grow here. Or you may want to use something that, you know, some linen or cotton that's made in South Carolina or North Carolina. And the last stream is re-envisioning, and that is our kind of our upcycling area, noting that we want to keep the textiles out of the landfills. So on that one, you know, keeping track of where you got the cloth, documenting it, and then repurposing it, and using local suppliers when you can. And so, are there any questions? And I have to figure out how to turn off. Oh, I'll stop the share. That's what I'll do. And then it will stop that music. How about that? No, it won't stop the music. How do I stop the music? There we go.
Great. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah. So are there any questions or comments or anything? Oh, and yes, I will put the link in again. Sometimes it like goes away.
Okay. I have a question for all of you. Is sometimes we hear about people have materials available that they want to swap or trade or share. Would you all be interested in having a gathering that we do have sort of a swap and share event? Do I see yeses on that, or?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. We'll add that into the live events.
Yeah, Maria Baker says yes too.
Okay, thanks. And, you know, since these are learning experiences, is there something people thought could have worked a little better, or things that they really liked about the process this year? You know, it does take a village, and we're trying to get a lot of feedback as we go forward. Everyone's being so kind.
Oh, yeah, Molly's got her hand up.
Yeah, Molly?
Hello. I'm kind of new to this whole entire like concept of Chesapeake Fibershed and everything. So I was wondering, I'm not really a hand spinner, but I'm more of a knitter. Is it fine if I get some hand spun yarn from someone who works in the Chesapeake Fibershed and uses materials all from Chesapeake Fibershed?
Absolutely.
Certainly. Yeah, you can even make a team with that person, and they do the spinning, you do the knitting and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, it doesn't have to be hand spun though, correct?
It doesn't
Correct.
have to be hand spun, no. There's plenty of mill spun yarn that fiber farmers have made.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
I just would add, I was really moved by what Lee said near the end of our event, our celebration, about, and, what will it take for us to reach a broader people. She was so impressed with everything that y'all had done and really wanted to see it, more people exposed to this. I don't know what that would take, but I hope that we can think about that as we move to that final, well, maybe it's not just the final celebration, but anyway.
Yeah, as we move forward, it'd be nice to, I sometimes feel that we're all preaching to the choir because we all understand local fibers and yarns and appreciate them. And what we want is for people outside of our fiber circle to understand the importance of buying local and supporting our local fiber shed, producers and artisans. So those are definitely ideas in the back, and always looking for new ways and new ideas to approach that. Since we're all volunteers, it takes a little while for us to keep things moving, but we definitely embrace that thought.
Kathy, you have a thought?
A thought would be, because I think that Lee was definitely right. What if we made one of our events concurrent at one of the festivals? For instance, the Maryland one is in the Fibershed, and that we could redo the event in September at Shenandoah.
Well,
and it would be something like maybe one of the swap and trades, or like how's your project going, or some kind of gathering, stopping by, letting people know. Well, you already have presence.
Yeah.
There.
So we will, I'm working with the committee to make sure that we do get a space again, like we had last year. And we did submit a proposal to do a kind of a round table forum panel discussion on Sunday at noon. So that will also be taking place, and hopefully it's a free lecture. So hopefully, or free event. So we're hoping that we get people in that are new and interested. And yeah, so far this year, so we did Shenandoah, we did Rhinebeck, Maryland, and the alpaca show this last weekend.
That's great.
So, yeah, but
you know what? I wonder if sharing the word with MAFA specifically, the Guild of Guilds for the Atlantic region, might be useful.
Well, Margaret's here.
Yeah, Margaret's here.
And also,
Margaret.
they kindly sent us a link to their webpage that once we get we'll send the link to the Sustainable Cloth to their events page as well. And so we definitely send it out to as many people as we can. Yeah. And we'll send it back out to colleges again this year.
And I was hoping that maybe as part of that roundtable discussion at Maryland, that we could have some of the garments and the projects there that people could see. And even if people can sign up all the way basically to the end, right? I mean, we don't put a deadline on when somebody can sign up. So maybe we would get, new people to come in and wanting to make some cloth with us.
And also, Lisa, the skein and garment competition.
Oh, right. And we're also in discussions with the skein and garment committee to have a special prize for best hand spun skein and best garment. And so that the maker and the producer of the fiber will get a cash prize and a hand-turned local wooden beautiful bowl. So we're excited about that. It's not quite a done deal, but I think it will be going through, and we'll let you guys know.
So Lisa, those are special Fibershed in addition to, because there's already a best skein.
Right. So this is special Chesapeake Fibershed skein and Chesapeake Fibershed garment. Yeah.
And the parameters is that it has to be spun from local wool
Right.
and made,
So
or fiber, I should say.
how are you having any trouble with that committee, since I'm heading a lot of the parts of the committee this year?
I have sent emails and I don't know if I'm getting them back. I haven't gotten a response back from Angela.
Can you forward me or something those emails, and I can poke also?
Right. Okay. That'll be good.
Extra
I sent it last week right before the committee meeting. So
okay.
Yeah,
they didn't bring you up during the committee meetings. That's why I'm asking.
okay.
Any
Me
other
personally
thoughts?
or Chesapeake?
I see Ray has her hand up.
Yeah, Ray has her hand up.
Yes, I was browsing some of the other fiber sheds that are in the East Coast.
Mhm.
And the New Jersey Fiber Shed did a really interesting project where they collected wool, like 400 pounds of wool, and made blankets.
Yes.
And it seems like we do have cloth mills in our fiber shed. And I was wondering maybe if we should explore that route, doing something to involve, the farmers more. I remember when we were all at Shepherd's Hay, the proprietor of Shepherd's Hay was like, oh, we should do something. We should with our local farmers. And, I think that would be kind of an interesting thing to introduce them to the fiber shed.
So we've actually got some issues with that. The mills that are making those blankets require a lot of poundage. And it has to most of the fiber has to be of similar type in order to make a decent blanket. And most of those fiber mills that are making blankets are not within our fiber shed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but that's what I believe we've found.
McCausland's is the one that most people use, and that's up in Prince Edward Island.
Right.
The family heirloom weavers, they have some kind of custom thing, but I don't know how much you have to have to do that.
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, New Hampshire. I know that some of the other sheep breeders associations, like Maryland Sheep Breeders Association, is similar to that, but like Rhode Island makes a blanket every year. Connecticut makes a blanket every year. So some of the states are doing it. I just don't know of any that are right here within ours.
But it's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah,
It's definitely worth exploring. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe Heritage Weavers would be interested in, some kind of special project. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea.
You want to head that up? We're always looking for people to take on more projects.
There is so much to do.
Right. Let's see. I mean, I'd be more than happy to reach out to them to see what type of project they might be interested in.
Well, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and we have plenty of spinning mills, right? So we could get wool spun and see if they were interested in weaving anything up in wool.
That would be great.
They may want to do the whole project like in-house themselves so that they are sure of the spin, that it will be compatible with their weaving equipment, but check with them. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm more than happy to reach out and see.
Thank you.
And if you want to talk,
they might have a ton of work, but maybe it's something that they could consider 2 years down the road or something.
Mm-hmm.
and if there's anything you want to run past, somebody who's worked both in the mills and those kinds of things. I'm happy to field any questions if you have any.
Right. I haven't worked with any mills, so
Yeah.
I'm, completely ignorant of this process. All I know is that they are usually booked at least 6 months to a year in advance.
Correct.
So,
Correct. But like, if you have questions, if they start throwing terms at you and you're not sure of what they're asking about, feel free to give us a buzz. We'll help.
sure. And Patricia, are you part of the Weavers Guild of Greater Baltimore or just Maryland Sheep and Wool?
So I'm Maryland Sheep and Wool, Maryland Sheep Breeders, Frederick County Sheep Breeders, American Sheep Industry. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not part of the Weavers Guild. No.
Okay, all right. Patricia Stanville. Okay.
Other thoughts? This is great.
Well, I wonder, it's Mary Lou here. I wonder if, as you're growing and you're encouraging people to do, make teams and whatever, maybe if your directory, if we could list our primary skills, because then, for example, I do knitting and embroidery, and if somebody wanted a project with like a coat or something, but they wanted knitted cuffs, they would say, oh, well, maybe Mary Lou lives near me and she could do that. If somebody has a vision that encompasses multiple different fiber medias, if we all knew what each other's accessible skills were, it might encourage, making teams and maybe coming up with a multi-fiber project.
That's a great
Okay,
idea.
maybe we could add that into the form so people could put that down as they sign up. That'd be a good idea.
And then we could have like,
Do a directory on the sustainable cloth page.
yeah.
Like Lisa, I think one time I remember you saying something about you'd been slaving away doing the swatches to show some of your things. And I was like, oh, I love to swatch. So,
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah,
weird, but I
that's a good
do.
idea. So,
Lisa,
Ann-
Do
I'm
do you
sorry
see Ann's
to
question
interrupt.
there? Sorry.
yeah, that's what I was just.
Okay.
Gonna-
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, never mind. I'll go back on mute.
no, that's okay. But don't go back on mute because your first question was, you're considering getting an RHL. I don't know what that is.
Oh, Bridget had a look.
Oh,
I
a rigid
missed it.
heddle loom. Okay.
Okay.
I think on those, I think that any fiber shed yarn could be used on any of those 3 kinds of looms. It's just a matter of, matching the yarn from a particular producer to the project that you want to make, like
Sure.
some people, like I know that I have some yarns that would be fine to put as a warp and others that would be better as a weft. And the ones
Get out
that,
of the road.
uh-oh, that was,
Whoa.
some of the ones that are preferable for wefts are just fine for rigid heddles.
Free. Road.
Could whoever that
Whatever
is,
that
could you
is.
please mute?
I think, Marion, you can go in and mute everybody. And then about the meeting on, so one that we mentioned was January, what was it, 22nd?
Yes.
And yeah, it probably just hasn't gone up on the calendar yet.
Yes.
We're a small organization and sometimes we're a little backlogged. And like I said, we're putting together an ebook with all of our projects for the sustainable cloth. And yeah, if you on the events page, it will be there. And there's always, when we put it up there, there's a link for you to register. So it comes in on your name, not my name. Yeah. And like Marion said, that one on January 22nd is going to be about regenerative agriculture. And what I really thought was great is she's not just going to focus on if you have a farm, but what you can do in your own garden. So I think that's going to be a really great meetup. So the people that are here, who's excited about doing something for next year, or maybe has already signed up?
Yay.
Yeah, we've got some good people.
What's the date for next year?
What do you mean, which date?
In October, the meeting date.
We're not sure yet, but it might be, what did we decide? Marian?
November 5th was likely going to be the Sustainable Cloth Celebration next year.
Yeah.
Because I'm aware that SAF and Rhinebeck are the same weekend in October this year,
Oh, that's not good.
in
Yeah, we had to,
2023.
we wanted to avoid all that stuff, so
Right.
we put it October 5th or November 5th. And hopefully we'll have good weather or an more inside space. I'm glad we aren't doing it today because we'd all be freezing if we were outside.
Yeah. That's why we have wool.
Yes. Or mohair. Mohair's warm.
Mohair's good. So any other thoughts, folks? I know it's
November 5th is a Sunday, is that correct?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
I know for some of us, we had projects in mind that we didn't finish. Molly, is your hand still up? Is this a new question? Maybe not.
Wait,
My hand was still up from when you guys asked if we were excited about it.
oh, okay. Fantastic.
We're glad you are.
Yeah. So I guess what we could also talk about, we got another grant this year, and our project is to develop a local dye source book. So we're working to nail down all of the particulars. If you've been on the website and you've seen that we have started, it's called the Natural Dyers Journal, where each month we've been writing up our experiments with local dyes, grown here dyes, dye stuffs like indigo that aren't necessarily a native plant, but they grow well here. We have done a little bit with kitchen waste as well, with onion skins and avocado pits and skins. And so we'll be continuing to do that and then making this into a dye source book. We'll have 2 physical books that we can lend out, like a library kind of a situation. And then we will also do an ebook with that. So that's our big project for the year, and keeping on doing this, sustainable cloth project.
Excellent. Other thoughts? Is there anything else, Lisa? Should we talk about bast fiber, that we're going to try to explore that as well?
Yeah.
So
we have a lot of irons in the fire.
We do. Pennsylvania Flax Project did a 1 square yard project to check and see how things could grow well in our area. And we have a few people in our Fibershed that participated in that. And what we're going to experiment this year, see if we can't get enough interest to see how well flax grows throughout the Chesapeake region, a little further south. And so we have a group of folks working to put together a project where we get seeds and plant it and see what happens locally. So stay tuned for that. We'll hear more, I think, in January here or February. And that's about what I know about it. But if you're interested in flax growing, it's be a good way to get an introduction.
Yeah, will there be a place to sign up if you were interested in planting seeds?
Yes,
Yes.
Great.
it will be coming.
Yeah, look, I think we're, because of the holidays and everything, I think some things are kind of, I don't want to say put on hold, but we're thinking, a lot of things will be happening in January. I'm assuming that since you guys are all here, that you're all getting the newsletter. And so that will have appropriate links, unlike today. And the information of all of these new projects and what we're planning. Because with the dye source book too, we're trying to figure out a way to get everybody involved in that. Like, if you're already doing some natural dyeing, we're thinking about how can we have you, just put in an extra little mini skein in with your dyeing, and then, send us a card with all the information so that we can see, everybody has different water. You
So
may
many
have
variables.
so many variables, and we wanted to kind of see what happens within our whole region. If you're on city water versus well water, or everybody's wells are different if you're on wells. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting year, I think.
So much to do. And it's good to see everyone here to think about what we're going to do next. So I think it's also important that we sort of explore the mending possibilities and the upcycling possibilities that are in our areas. We've seen some of that from some of the projects, like Ellen's rugs were really fun to see. And I think in the Indigo Project, one young woman, she took her sweater that she'd made and didn't like, and she unraveled it and knit something new. So that's like great upcycling of old yarn. So a lot of fun ideas.
Yeah, and Patty just brought up something good in the chat. So she says that my lovely newsletters are landing in her spam folder. So if you add us to your to either your safe sender or add us to your address book, then you won't lose them. And I missed the one where you said you wanted to be part of a team for weaving. And I know that, I think, Ray, is it true that you guys are looking to do another project with the Weavers Guild?
The Weavers Guild of Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We potentially are, but my guess is it will be more of a 2-year project, because we're going to grow and make. So we'll see what will happen.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah,
What kind-
Natalie was over here yesterday, and so she was telling me a little bit about it. So
Ray, what kind
Can't
of
wait to see
weaving?
what you do, because you went over the top on that last one. That was just stunning. So how you going to beat that? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how we're going to beat it, but we might have a 2-year project. I don't know. We'll see.
So Anne, are you a member of the Weavers Guild of Greater Baltimore?
No, not yet. I mean, I am on their Facebook group, but that's about it. Yeah, I'm mostly doing things in the Rockville area right now because that's where I live. And so I joined Potomac.
Potomac.
Potomac,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and all of our meetings are hybrid now. So
Okay.
and we have over 200 members to our guild now, because we have such great programming. So
Yeah.
check us out if you'd like.
Yep, and you can join
I
on
will.
the web.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. You mentioned you were doing a project. What kind of weaving is that? I mean, rigid heddle or some other?
Well, we
or
had one weaver
Orlums?
for our project, right? We had one weaver for our project. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah. So I'm not sure if we're going to employ multiple weavers with this project. It's everything's TBD, because like I said, we're growing. So my guess is in the first year we'll be growing our source material, and then potentially, and spinning, and then potentially having an item in the next year. We'll see. It'll
Okay,
be tight.
thank you.
Yeah. And like we said, this year, I mean, even the steps that you're taking, the growing and the spinning, you're going to have yarn. The yarn is a product, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so you can still have that highlighted as what you worked on this year, and then the next year is the cloth part of it.
Correct.
Yeah. Very good. Any other questions or comments?
Anything anyone wants to share? We still have about 15 minutes.
Actually, I've got one quick question.
Yes.
I guess I always assume we're supposed to be making something to wear. Could I make a blanket for the Chesapeake
Yes.
Fibershed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's why we called it Sustainable Cloth Farm to Home and Closet, so that it was like, it could be, we didn't want to exclude people who wanted to make something that wasn't necessarily wearable.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I have a much
Pillows,
bigger loop now. It might be
blankets.
fun to make a blanket.
Yeah.
That'd be
that route.
great.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, last year we had pillows, blankets, even the felt covered journal that Marion made.
We had rugs.
Okay.
Rugs.
All right.
Yeah.
And I should have known all this because I was part of it, but good to think about. Thanks.
Yeah.
There's a
Right,
lot going on.
Mhm.
And Maryland Sheep and Wool, they have a competition for blanket
Okay.
as well. So Lee, remind me what the name of the blanket competition is.
It's the Mamie Francis
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Mamie Francis.
blanket competition. And there's a lot of categories, but the premiums are pretty good. So it's fun to see what people have done.
Cool.
Not
Thanks.
always as fun, but
Yeah. All right.
I joined late. I was out grocery shopping for Thanksgiving. So
Oh.
got caught in the madness. But did anyone talk about the Shave 'em to Save 'em programs? I was doing the one that's for weaving a scarf on a rigid heddle. And it had lots of good information. And that's something, if you are interested in weaving and sort of don't know where to start. It was Melissa Weaver.
Yeah, Melissa Dunning. Weaver
and
Weaver
Dunning.
Dunning. I think it's Weaver Dunning. Weaver.
Yeah, it's over, but you can access, like, through Shave 'em to Save 'em, you can access the programs like for a fee. And they have programs on doing like a sweater or doing hats or doing various things, and plus resources of, like, it's single fiber, like one of the Shave 'em to Save 'em breeds, but there's definitely lots of people in the Fibershed who are raising them. So
Yeah.
Okay,
I
thank
think,
you.
Kathy,
Do we get notes from this?
what we do is
Yes.
that we make the recording available. We send it out to the people on the list.
Thank
So-
you.
Yeah. And so Kathy and Gretchen talked about Save 'em to Shave 'em, or shave. I can't say it right.
Shave 'em to save 'em.
And yeah, when was that? Was that in
2 months ago?
August?
It was.
And so that meeting, I think, is up on our YouTube channel, because that was a regular meetup. I don't think it was a sustainable cloth.
yeah, you're right. Because
Yeah,
I
so
went to
it's-
that instead of going to the sustainable cloth one by mistake.
Yeah. So you can, yeah, like I said, we have a YouTube channel and you can access the recordings there. I don't put the sustainable cloth recordings there because I send those out to people that are part of the group. But these meetups that it can include anyone, those ones are on the YouTube channel, free, with a link widely visible.
Guys are real techies. I hadn't realized how many portals there were to get information from you.
I know, it's crazy. And then to remember to do it all.
Yeah.
It's great.
So you see that there are links to the form for if you haven't signed up for the sustainable cloth and you want to.
So you can sign up if you don't yet know what you're going to do, but just say,
Yeah.
I'll be coming up with some idea, God willing, and the creeks don't rise.
Exactly. I think I think it says on there, I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the answers. Like,
That's
I'm
a good
gonna,
one for me.
yeah, I'm gonna do the embrace, I'm gonna do the re-envisioning, I'm gonna do the borrowing, or I don't know yet.
We should put in all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, but that became a little bit hard for people. It was hard to do more than one project, I think.
It was. I kept thinking I would do one in each category. And I think 2 out of 4 got finished.
Yeah, but you had multiples too.
True.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yep. It is.
So I see everyone busy working on things. What are you doing? See a sweater?
I got a sweater.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of
Ellen,
great knitting. Wow.
Ellen, what is that you're making? You're still on mute.
That is old pants that either got from a thrift shop or my boyfriend's jeans that I dyed with walnuts to turn them brown. And I'm making Christmas presents, Christmas rugs for his girls.
Nice. Where do we get adopted?
Yes, the line forms here.
Isn't that great?
Thanks.
Yeah, I have socks here, but these aren't Fibershed, but I've been making socks 2 at a time on one needle.
Mm.
My favorite way to do it. When you're done, you have a pair of socks. You don't have to start another one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm spinning Shetland also out of the a Fibershed, but not too far from upper New York State, just east of Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Jen Johnson raises Shetlands at Whispering Pines, and she's really she has a fun YouTube channel, and she's also a Maja craft dealer. Anyway, I tried to process a raw fleece of hers a few years ago, and the loss was so incredible. It was probably my first super fine fleece that I'd worked with. So I recently bought just an ounce of each of her colors. She's recently also made available combed roving, comb top, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'm trying it out. It's very nice. And much easier than processing a raw Shetland fleece.
Yeah, for sure.
That scouring can really be intensive.
I don't really mind it. I really do enjoy the process of going from raw to finished object, but the stuff that's super fine, and her fleeces, they're sheep, they're breeding for fineness, and it's just the loss is so much greater when you comb. If I were to do it again, I wouldn't comb. I would flick the locks open and spin directly from the locks. So lesson learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, where did the loss come in? You said it's when you were combing it?
The combing. Yeah, huge mistake.
To get the noils out and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I tried on 2 different kinds of combs. I have the super fine and the extra fine. I can never remember which is which of the Valkyries, but either one, I lost so much, and it was just disheartening because it was not inexpensive fleece. It breaks.
You feel like it was the yarn worth it?
No, not the first time around. No, I ended up like $120 gain. No, it was very expensive, but again, if I were to do it again, and that's a big if, I would flick the locks and probably lose a fraction of what I lost last time, and just spin from the locks. So, live and learn.
Yeah.
For those of us who don't spin, what does it mean, flick the locks?
Oh, okay. So when you first, I just happen to have a lock so when you first, get the fleece off the animal, you end up with, this is a lock.
Yeah.
Right. Now this is already washed. Normally, when it's really off, it's
Greasy.
It's dirty. And this still has this still has a little bit of condensed tip there. You take, I don't have the tools with me up here, but you can use, there are things called flickers. There are things called hand cards. You can use a dog brush. Flicker, it's basically like a dog brush. And you just, you run the ends, both ends over the teeth. And then you end up with something more or less like this. So these are two different breeds, but concept's the same.
It fluffs it up.
It opens it up, fluffs it up, and you can spin directly from this, as opposed to making roving on combs where there's a lot of loss.
Thanks.
So.
Good to learn new stuff.
Yeah, it's been so fun to learn all this. This is relative. Well, I guess it's been 7 years now, so it's not that recent as it used to feel very new to me, but it's been a lot of fun to get to know what happens to the fleece once it's shorn off the animal and what you can do with it.
And each breed is so different.
Yes. Yes. So, like, oh my God. So Gretchen, she's not with us today, is she? Gretchen's Romneys, several of us have worked with her raw fleeces, and they're just a joy. Greasy as hell, but beautiful. Philip's not wearing it. Well, the sweater that you see Philip wearing at the Sustainable Cloth Challenge was from one of Gretchen's fleece sheep. So, yeah. And hers are really long, and that's, I would say, a medium. Would you call that, other folks? Would you call Romney a medium?
That's what I would classify it as. Yeah.
If you ask Gretchen, she says it's a long wool.
Yeah.
It is long, but it's so soft.
They technically, neither of those is wrong. They are a long wool breed, but they fall into the medium weight.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. My knowledge of all those details is somewhat restricted.
Hey, Lisa, I have a question. So the junior spinning competition at Maryland Sheep and Wool, they will be spinning Jacob. That is from our Fibershed. So can you think of a way we can, and we don't have to talk about it here, but can you think of a way that we can tie in those junior spinners with this competition perhaps and get some youth involved?
That's a great idea.
Yeah. We can put our heads together and see what we can do. Okay. Do you need fleeces, or you have enough fleeces for that?
For the Jacobs, Headspring is donating 2 pounds of roving, and I'm purchasing 2 pounds of roving for the kids to spin with. So there will be, I will give out 4 pounds of roving for those kids to spin. So yeah.
Yeah, it's great to see young kids get involved. So
yeah, that's what,
make
having our Youth Indigo partnership girls, they were, it was so fun to watch everything that they were doing. And, they came to several of our meetups, and, they planted their own indigo, and, it was just really fun to, see that team, emerge. And it would be fun to get some of those junior spinners into to be a team as well.
Right.
At the Fall Fiber Festival, I know the event was canceled, but they still had the skein garment competition. And when I went to pick up my things and see everything that had been entered, there's a woman and her daughters, 2 daughters. The oldest was 11, and the 11-year-old had done her first, she had entered her first hand spun skein in the competition. Well, it just so happened that was a Sunday. That Sunday morning, somebody at church that I know has been complaining about her sister from another state had come to her house and dropped this loom off in pieces, in sticks, she said. And it's been a while. She's had it for a while. She is not a weaver. She's a knitter. And so her sister thought that maybe she might like to learn to weave. Well, she complained about it all the time. So finally I had said, if you don't want that loom, I'm sure I could find someone that would take it. So she had brought it to church that morning. So we went to the early mass and I had come in and brought it in and looked everything up online. And it was, I think, 24-inch Kromsky rigid heddle loom with a stand. Everything that she gave me was about $600. And it was almost like new. So anyway, my husband and I went to go out the door to go to Charlottesville to see the stuff. And I said, let's put that loom back in the car because at first I was planning on taking it to a Clothos Hand Spinners meeting to see if somebody wanted it. So we put it back in the car, went to Charlottesville to the Fall Fiber Festival competition thing. And when I saw that this girl had entered this scheme, then I saw the mother and daughter were looking at her stuff. So I went over to meet them, and it turns out they had joined Clothos. They had just joined Clothos, which I had not met them yet. And so now they're at the meetings that I go to, but the woman, I asked her if she had a loom, and she said no, but she had just got a book from the library about how to make a loom out of PVC pipe. And I said, well, I got a loom in my car, I'll give you. So anyway, she was, they haven't used it yet. But anyway, so now they have a loom and it'll go, she'll learn about it. And she's homeschooling her daughters this year with emphasis on, first time she's done that, emphasis on fiber arts. So it turns out that so Clothos Hand Spinners meeting was yesterday and they were there. And one of the other members had met them and learned about them. And she had a Tockley, little metal Tockley that she wasn't going to be using. So she gave it to that girl also. And the girl and her mother have grown some cotton this year and they had bought a Tockley. So between the two of them, they had one Tockley. So now they have two. So anyway, it was just really fun to watch this emerge within our group.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing it. It's, yeah, any way that we can get younger kids involved in making is always positive.
And look what a complaint turned into.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
The next Sunday I went to church and I told Mary Rose about where the loom went to. And she was so happy. She said it just made her day to know that. And when she gave it to me, then she had said, I'm going to go home and clean up that spot and put something else there.
That's awesome. We're now on the hour, so I know people have lots to do before the holidays. Thank you everyone for coming today. Always sign up. If you're not on the newsletter, please sign up. We will have more information up in the next newsletter and on the website. So keep checking us out and keep making with local wool. This has been fibers. I keep saying wool, but it's all fibers.
Yeah.
Cindy often reminds me. So thank you all. And we will see you hopefully next month and in the Sustainable Cloth Challenge. Have a great day.
Bye all.
Bye.